You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell. And engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Minnesota Vikings fired defensive coordinator Ed Donatel, an unsurprising decision after winning 13 games under first-year coach Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell, in a statement, quote, "We will immediately begin our search to fill this critical role as we continue to build a championship standard for the Minnesota Vikings." Miami Dolphins fired defensive coordinator Josh Boyer after 4 seasons with the franchise, the last 3 as defensive coordinator. In addition to Boyer, the Dolphins also fired safeties coach Steve Gregory, outside linebackers coach Ty McKenzie, and assistant linebackers coach Steve Ferentz. Here are your lines for the NFL playoff weekend. 4:30 Saturday, Jacksonville at Kansas City. Chiefs are giving up 9, over under 52.5. Jaguars plus 390 on the money line. Chiefs minus 550. Saturday night in Philadelphia. Giants plus 7.5, over under 48. G-Men plus 275 on the money line. Fly Eagles fly minus 350. 3 o'clock Sunday. Bengals at Bills. Houday is getting plus 5.5. Over under 49. Cincy plus 205 on the money line. Bills Mafia minus 245. 6:30 Sunday evening, the Dallas Cowboys at San Francisco 49ers. Dallas getting 4, over under 46.5. Plus 170 on the money line is how about them Cowboys? The San Francisco Gold Rush minus 200. Games of interest in the NBA tonight. Warriors at the Cavs. Golden State is getting 8, over under 224. Mavericks host the Heat. They're 1.5-point dog. Numbers 218.5. The New York Knicks are at your Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta minus 3, over under 228. Memphis is at the Lakers. Grizzlies -7 over under 243. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Armor Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pub. Really? This is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
Same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair.
YouTube Live.
Radio station. The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Considering the slate tonight, I cannot wait until tomorrow. My word. So many college basketball games. You got the NFL playoffs. Let's go.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Yeah, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio's Braves Country HD. We're here live on WQEE 99.1 FM and Braves Country HD, wherever you may stream. I've got Bobby on the way. Tones is on the way. They'll be here very shortly. We're going to be talking the NFL playoffs. We're going to be talking about the lines. We're going to be talking about some props. We're going to be talking about some injury reports that are coming out at this point. So we got a lot of stuff to get through here and a little time to do it. So let's go ahead and dive in. The first thing that you want to know about the Bengals, if you're thinking about taking the Bengals in the 5.5 that it is right now, as I scroll down here on the screen to show you the line, Bengals still sitting there at 5.5. The Bengals have ruled out already two of their offensive linemen, left tackle Jonah Williams and the right guard Alex Kapp. So that's already a huge, huge issue going into tomorrow night's game, or excuse me, Sunday afternoon's game, Sunday evening. It starts at 3:00. Other things going on. You still have two pretty big name free agents out there on the MLB market. Trevor Bauer, which we know his checkered past and why folks might be a little gun shy to sign him. And then the other would be, of course, Jurickson Profar. Jurickson Profar at this point has really ended up, at this point, you have to wonder who's going to end up with him. I think I read this off the other day to everyone that his AAV is being estimated at just under 15 a year, so 14.5. I don't think he's going to get that. I think he's going to end up signing a 1-year deal with someone and a prove-it type of year. For those of y'all who aren't very familiar with him, Jurickson Profar is a very valuable asset. I'm a little surprised and relieved that we didn't see him get signed by the Mets. The Mets instead went out and signed Tony Pham at the beginning of this week, and so it looks like that's where they're heading. Now, he is not an option for the Atlanta Braves. No, do not even want to start that goofy rumor. But you do wonder where he's going to end up, because he's a guy that can hit when he's hot. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. He's got speed. He's a good defensive player. And you can also put him in a million different situations. You can have him start. You can have him platoon. You can have him come off the bench in key situations. You can also move him in and out of the lineup as far as, do you want him in the infield? Do you want him in the outfield? So Profar is a guy that I think is going to be a valuable piece. I just, for whatever reason, no one's signing up for him. And so that's an interesting, he played with San Diego most recently. And when San Diego decided to move on from him, I really thought there was about 5 to 10 teams that may jump out there and want to grab him. But it doesn't look like that's the case. It doesn't look like that's the case at all. It looks like he's sitting out there dying on the vine, so to speak, and waiting for someone to step up and say, I want this guy. And when you think of some of the teams who kind of need some pop, some teams that need some life into their offense, Jerks and Profar would be a home run for anyone that gets them, but who's willing to step up? Now, one of the things that has been broken here just recently, didn't get a chance to put it on the screen, but that's okay. It looks like Luis Arrazo, which for folks who aren't familiar with him, really good offensive second baseman, he is about to be traded from the Minnesota Twins down to the Miami Marlins. The Marlins are moving Pablo Lopez, which this has been rumored all offseason that he was going to be moved somewhere. And it's interesting that that's the route that they go. You know, I think if they would have traded him last offseason, they would have gotten a lot bit more for Pablo Lopez. He ended up having kind of an up and down season last year. Well, before heading into last year, he was dominant. So the Twins are willing to take the risk that he could put them over the top with the pitching. And the Twins, of course, have a plethora of bats, especially in the infield, especially after re-signing Carlos Correa, so he becomes expendable. So that's an interesting piece right there. And when you look at that, and you look at the fact that you still have Bauer out there, you still have Profar, there's still some moves to be made. We are sitting a little less than a month, just over 3 weeks away from the beginning of pitchers and catchers reporting. We are sitting about 5 to 6 weeks in that neighborhood, depending on your team, of the first spring training games. And we are just over 9 weeks away. I think I saw the number. So there's 67 days, I think, till opening day. So there's time to do things, but you also don't, if you're going to make a financial commitment to any of these guys, you don't really want to sign them at the end. You want to go ahead and get them into camp. You don't want them to be down in extended spring training and, we got to wait for him to come back. And we'll be just constantly be staring at the calendar going, okay, well, if we can get him back by this date, if we can get him back by that date. I think all fans of all teams have been through that again, over and over and over again, and you don't really want to have that happen. So Profar, I'm expecting him to get signed very soon. The Trevor Bauer thing is going to be interesting because I don't know who's actually going to make that move. And I don't know who's willing to take the PR hit. I've said before that I think he deserves a chance, that I think his involvement with that young lady, that a lot of stuff came out, which it was one of those he said, she said, you're not really sure what happened. He's definitely done his time. He's been suspended for over a season. So with that being said, I do believe he deserves another chance. The problem is, depending on who your team is, whether it's the Braves or whoever, it's not the monetary, because your team is going to have to pay $720,000. Dodgers are footing the rest of the bill right at $22 million. So it's not financial. It's whether or not you're willing to take the PR hit, the distraction in the clubhouse, and of course, does he still have it? We haven't seen him in a while. So the last time we saw him pitch, competitively was in 2020 for a full season, and he was dynamic. He won the shortened NL Cy Young that year. Granted, it was only 60 games, but he was dynamic. Braves faced Bauer in the playoffs that year, if you remember. And he was a very tough customer. Atlanta ended up winning the game, but they didn't get to Bauer. They had to eventually get late hits in run support at the end of the ball game, and he was phenomenal. But like all of us, he hasn't gotten any younger, and there's going to be some hesitation out there. I just don't know where the hesitation is going to be per se, whether or not there are teams that are going to go out there and want to go full bore all in and say, let's go. I think what you may end up with is a familiar territory. Wherever Bauer ends up, it may be someone, may not even be a team, but it may be leadership on that team, whether it's in the clubhouse or in the front office, that is familiar with Bauer and is willing to trust him. Because I think a lot of general managers would be gun shy to sign him up, and it ends up being a disaster. And I know a lot of people are going to say AA, and I'm with you. I'd be all for him getting another shot. I think what could be one of the many things that could hold that back is if you're a general manager like Anthopoulos, who's had his success, but he's also had his huge swings and misses like the Ozuna signing, is he willing to bring in someone that he's a little sketchy on the leadership qualities, etc.? So that's what we're going to be looking at heading into the we're right around the corner from spring training. I can't wait. And of course, the World Baseball Classic gets played in just a handful of weeks as well. And you're coming at the end of the Dominicans and the Dominican League, the Venezuelan League, I won't be able to rattle them all off the top of my head. Dominican, Venezuelan, Mexico, and just a few others. They're coming into their league, and they'll have the Caribbean Series going on very shortly. And then after that, they'll basically go straight into the World Baseball Classic. So we're looking at a lot of baseball that may not count on the scoreboard in your mind if you're a diehard just Major League Baseball fan, but there's going to be a lot of really good baseball coming up as well. And then, of course, you got the NFL playoffs. I have seen that in one book, the Jaguars, let me move this up. Let me see if I can get it here. The Jaguars have moved to what was a 9, they are plus 10 on the book. So that's an interesting thing in itself right there, because you're talking about there's got to be some money coming in on the Jaguars at this point. I mean, on the Chiefs. Is anyone willing to come out and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and take them? And we've got some news on some bets. We hit the free agent number, et cetera, et cetera. Bobby is on his way. We're going to talk some NFL playoffs, and we're going to share the we only have an A and B bet tonight, but we'll share that here in a second. So keep it locked in here on Braves Country HD, wherever you may stream, and right here on 99.1 FM The Key. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country on a TGI Friday.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins.
Little Bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you-know-what, you-know-who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high-fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites.
There you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Hey, Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves, bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
How to improve your dining room by the Home Depot. New wood floors, new paint on the walls. Sure, you know us for that. But how about a new dining room table, matching chairs, bar stools? How about free and flexible delivery with easy online returns? Now you can explore decor in a whole new way. Save now on furniture. Everything for your home. Everything from HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done. U.S. only, valid through September 7th. Limitations apply.
Your true friends are the people in your life that totally get your inside jokes, your unique style, most important, what you want to eat. Taco Bell knows that when you get together with your real friends, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but hey, it might as well be something that everybody can get into, like the Taco and Burrito Cravings Pack with 4 crunchy tacos and 4 beefy 5-layer burritos. So even if you're all sitting around doing absolutely nothing, you know you'll still have a good time. It's Taco Bell's Taco and Burrito Cravings Pack. Get it for the friends that get it.
You're listening to Braves Country. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., 99.1 FM, The Key.
For 40 years, no team was ever as bad as the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their offense looked as if it were directed by the Marx Brothers. And on defense, they went down like paper soldiers in the wind. But the Steelers' sad story became ancient history when owner Art Rooney hired Chuck Noll as head coach. Noll came from a winning background with Cleveland and recalled that the Browns used to make fun of the Steelers. Upon accepting Rooney's offer, Noll vowed no one will laugh at this team ever again. In just 4 years, Noll rebuilt the team, and in 1972, the Steelers made the playoffs for the first time.
Armchair.
Hey, Yankees, you can take your apology out of your trophy and shove it straight up.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The All-American.
Welcome back. As we're waiting for Bobby to join, he'll be here in a second. Probably, getting his hair did. Go ahead and get into some of these picks that are up here. The A pick today, of course, we get this from our friend that was on the show earlier this week. Our A pick today is VCU plus 1.5. He did take a couple of hits last night, so some people are a little gun shy to take his advice, but his track record is proven. And then the B pick that we're going with is the teaser tonight. 8-point teaser. We'll take Dallas, the Jazz, and the Knicks. And where it landed at was Dallas plus 9.5, Jazz to win, and the Knicks plus 11. And that's a minus 110 payback on that. Here we go with Bobby, and he is joining us now. Go ahead and take this off the screen, Bobby. And how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. Are Are you ready for this NFL weekend?
I am. I'm looking forward to it. It's an exciting weekend. We got some good matchups, some better than others, but I'm looking forward to it overall.
I like the backdrop you got there.
Yep. Yeah, it's new.
Yeah, you got all your teams there. You got
Absolutely.
the Cardinals, the Preds, Trailblazers, that team that's in big time trouble down in Gainesville, and Tampa Bay Rays. That's good.
You acknowledge some of them at least. I'll take
What
it.
is the back? What is the picture backdrop? Is that MTSU Stadium?
The background? No, it's actually the Predator Stadium here in Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit local.
I see it now.
Something close
I thought it was
by.
a basketball stadium.
Nah.
So going into this weekend, and I find it interesting. I want to check a second book, by the way, while we're doing this, because I find it interesting that just a little while ago, so one book still has the Jaguars at +9. The other book, Bet US, which you can get the sign-up bonus with us, is all the way up to 10. So that means that they must have taken a pretty hefty bet on the Chiefs, and that's why they've pushed it up to 10. That's the only thing that I can gather from that. So if you're like me and you look at all the books and play all the books, right now you want to go Bet US +10 because you're getting a full point for free, and they're both -110 on the money line, or excuse me, on the payback. Where are you leaning this weekend? Jags, Chiefs? Is that again? I'm so hesitant with this game, unless I'm going to tease it one way or the other. I'm so hesitant with this game to take the Jags at that number. But I can see a game where Kansas City struggles to get it going, and they finally win, but they don't win by the spread. What say you?
I think the Chiefs are going to win this game, and I think they do it by a touchdown. But with that being said, I have the Jaguars covering. I don't think they're a pushover. I will say they're the worst team left in the AFC right now, but I still think they're competitive. I think they'll put up a good fight. But I think the Chiefs are too strong on offense. I think they'll win.
Yeah, we don't care who wins. We care who's going to the spread.
You heard that. I think Chiefs win by a touchdown, but Jaguars win. They cover.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you would be willing to put some hay on Jacksonville?
Yes.
That wouldn't make you nervous. You're not
terribly.
thinking, man, I could be looking up in the third quarter and it's 33-15, and the Chiefs are still driving. I'm going, what have I done?
Look, that's possible. That is a great possibility. But the Chiefs have also let a lot of teams back into games this year that they have no business being close with. The Broncos comes to mind when I think of that. They let the Broncos hang a bunch of points on them just because they got out to a big lead. So I think the Jaguars can easily cover.
Honestly, I think I'm staying away from this game straight up, but I will probably have a teaser or two. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see me take a teaser both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do the teaser right now, once it gets up to that 9 range, but I'm talking about back when it was down to 8.5, it gets down to 8.5 or whatnot, and you take a 6 teaser, well, then you're just talking about the Chiefs having to cover a field goal. Conversely, if you do get it into that 8.5, 9 range, and you take the 6-point teaser along with something else you may like, then the Jags are getting 2 touchdowns plus. That sweet spot of that 8 or 9 points. Normally I'm all in. Normally I'm ready to grab that dog, but I'm a little concerned the way Jacksonville came out in the first part of the game. And did you see the comments by Trevor Lawrence talking about how loud the stadium was last Saturday, and it can't be any louder? Buddy, you don't know what Arrowhead is about. You think you do because you played at Clemson and you played in random bowl games. You have never played at Arrowhead in a playoff game.
Yeah, Arrowhead, they currently have the decibel record for the highest the loudest stadium in the NFL in one game. I think they're going to break that this weekend. I think with Lawrence's comments, that's going to motivate those Chiefs fans to get out and get loud. I think that's going to have an effect on the game. Whether or not, the Jaguars can cover because of that, that's left to be seen, but it'll have an impact on the game.
I don't think I've seen a lot of prognosticators saying that they like the under because just the way an NFL playoff game tends to drag on. 52 points is a lot, et cetera, et cetera. Double check and make sure that line hasn't moved. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that over is gettable. One of the teasers that I did play already, and I wish I would have waited till I'd seen the +10 on BetUS, but I took Jacksonville and the over on a teaser. Because 52 now it's at 53 on there. 53 might be it's right there at the cusp where I say if I'm going with a score, I can definitely see a 28-24, 31-24 type of game. So you're right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not sure if you're going to hit that 53, but I definitely think on a tease it's going to get past it.
Yeah.
The one thing that is interesting about this game that I looked up, Jacksonville's pressure rate is 5th in the National Football League this year. Kansas City's block rate is the best at 74.7. That's the game right there. If Josh Allen and company can get through the line and get some pressure, it is going to be a tough sledding for Mahomes.
Mm-hmm. The only problem with that is Mahomes is, in my mind, without a doubt, the best improviser in the league. He does well against pressure, and I know that's weird. Most quarterbacks, when they have guys coming in all in their face, it tends to lead to mistakes. But with Mahomes, he seems to thrive against it, and I think that's going to happen on. I think they play Saturday, correct? Or the first Saturday game. Yeah.
Way to be prepared.
I know the other Saturday game. I know that's the Eagles Giants. I wasn't sure if I was mixing the other ones up.
Yes, it goes Jags KC at 4:30, which will be here 3 to 4:30 tomorrow here on Braves Country HD, getting you ready for the kickoff, and then you go get Giants Eagles, and then Sunday the games don't kick off until 3 and 6:30. So they kind of they do that every time because they're getting you ready for the exact same kickoffs the following week for the AFC and NFC championship game. And then, of course, the Super Bowl always kicks off at 6:30, so that's the reasoning why. So looking at that game, there's another line that I like a lot. It makes you want to take the Jags. First of all, the Jags are 8-5 against the spread this year, right? Second of all, did you realize Doug Peterson, as an underdog in his career, is 6-0 against the spread and 5-1 straight up?
I'm surprised he hasn't. I'm surprised they haven't been an underdog more than that. That's a little bit surprising.
Well, you got to make the playoffs, and you got to be.
Is this specifically in playoff games?
And be an underdog.
This is specifically in playoff games?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Pay attention there, scholar. That's a heck of a. I'm just giving you a hard time. That's a heck of a education they're giving you there at MTSU.
Hey, man, they're doing their best.
From what I remember, my experience, they literally do just give you the education at MTSU. So yeah, to me, that's, and I know that you can put that in a vacuum and compartmentalize and say, well, that's not a very, whatever. This is a different year, but there's something to be said about a coach that covers. It tells me that he's always undervalued, and if he's going to be undervalued anywhere, it's not going to be in Philadelphia. It's going to be in Jacksonville, Florida. The bettors are not going to believe in him. So you got to figure he was getting the benefit of the doubt from a lot of Northeast money.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I didn't think about the homer aspect of it, but I think that trend is going to continue. I think he'll cover. I don't think he adds another win to that record. I can't see them beating the Chiefs unless they pull off a miracle, but I do think they'll cover. I think they'll stay within 10, assuming the line stays there.
Well, I think if you want it, you need to grab it now. If you find it at 10, I would probably do. Now, I will say this, what's interesting, the plus 10 on the site that I see, it's minus 125. That's not typical.
Mhm.
The minus 10 is a plus 105. So they could just be doing that to try to get the suckers to jump up there and grab that.
Mm.
Typically, your lines are minus 110 across the board. And if you see it higher than the minus 110 or lower than the 110, that means that they're trying to entice you to go a different route. So for instance, if I can pull this up here, the Giants and Eagles, if you look at them, so you see here where this is minus 125 on the plus 10 and plus 10 on the 105.
Mm.
They're trying to entice you to take that, but if you're willing to take that, they're actually going to benefit you. Okay. If you look down here, the Giants are getting 7.5. It's minus 110. Minus 7.5 with the Eagles, it's minus 110. So that's across the board normal. Looking at the Giants and Eagles, I've been on record all week long. I think the Giants are getting too many points. What say you?
I'm with you. Or I'm against you, actually. I think the Eagles are going to crush them. Oh,
really?
I think their main objective needs to be to slow down Saquon. They have one of the best secondaries, if not the best in my mind, in football right now. I don't think they'll have trouble with Daniel Jones. I don't think he'll be giving them fits. But if they can stop Saquon, I think they're good to go. I think they'll run away with this one. I could see a 2-touchdown win for them.
That's interesting because I more envision an old-fashioned NFC East rock fight where you're going to get, maybe 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns at the very most. You're going to get a bunch of field goal opportunities, and then you're going to get down the stretch, and either A, it goes to overtime, which is obviously highly unlikely, or B, one of these teams is going to have to make a big stand at the end of the game. It'll probably be the Giants and Daniel Jones having to prove that they can go the length of the field. I don't know. Nobody believes in Daniel Jones, and I get that. But this Giants team reminds me so much of previous Giants teams where no one gives the quarterback any credit like Eli. They're built on a good defense, and they've got a running back and a running game that can suffice. The Eagles have gotten gashed on the ground, and that's why I think it's going to be competitive.
That's
Also,
their one.
The biggest reason I would almost buy your argument is this. Hurts has not looked like Hurts post-injury as opposed to pre-injury. I know it was just the one game. He struggled against the same Giants team with all their stars on the bench, and they had to have that win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little concerned that he played that game, then he took another week off, and now here we go. And if you've seen some of the practices, there was one in particular last night that they were highlighting where they were doing the roll drill onto the mat, and most of the guys just get the ball. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but if you played football, people know what I'm talking about. And you get the ball and you roll on the mat and you get back up, and it's just we always called it the rumble drill, and everyone was doing it normally. Jalen Hurts got there and just kind of gently put himself down and gently rolled over. Typically rumbling off the mat and you're getting up and going, rumbling off the mat, getting up and going. And it was almost like he almost looked like someone my age getting down into a lazy boy after their 4th beer. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a little worried about putting money on. If they're hitting on all cylinders, the Eagles are phenomenal. But my concern is, are they hitting on all cylinders?
Yeah, well, they'll need a healthy Jalen Hurts back. He's got to be a full go. There can't be any question about that. And I think the way they stop the Giants is if they sell out to stop the run. They have a great secondary to cover Daniel Jones. That won't be a problem in my mind. If they lose this game, though, it'll be because Saquon goes crazy and has multiple touchdowns, 200 yards, something ridiculous like that. but I think they'll sell out and stop the run.
Daniel Jones, here's another fun fact. Daniel Jones, let me see if I can find it, has 708 yards rushing. Jalen Hurts, 760 yards rushing. Of course, combines for 1468, right? That is the most ever combined for starting quarterbacks heading into a playoff game.
Wow.
The New York Giants are 17-5 against the spread and 14-8 overall as a playoff dog since the Super Bowl era has began. But with all that being said, the FPI computers have an average win for Philadelphia of about 9.9. I did find it interesting that the spread is lower and the FBI computers are expecting a 9.9 victory for Philly, only a 9.2 victory for KC. And to me, that's telling of a lot of things. One of the things to me that it tells is there's always they always expect there's going to be money coming in on New York.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I think I can justify the Chiefs being projected to win by a or by a lower margin than the Eagles will. I think the Jaguars have a better path in my mind to keep this game close. I don't think they'll win. Let me make that very clear. I don't give them much of a chance to win, but I could very well see the Eagles shutting down the run and pulling away with this one and not really having it close at all.
If this wasn't a divisional game, I'd almost buy it. But after what I saw between Baltimore and Cincinnati this year, I don't know.
That is a fair point. That's a fair point.
I mean, if there's a game that should have been blown out on paper, it's that one.
Mm-hmm. That, or even you can make the case the Bills and the Dolphins game a lot closer than anybody expected. That's a good way to look at it. The divisional rival aspect can change how games are played.
Absolutely, and I was a little surprised that they went out and fired their defensive coordinator.
Well, Troche didn't have much to say that was good about Boyer, and frankly, he kind of called it. He hit the nail, the nail on the head. He went and he said, I believe it was that Dolphins will send too much blitz, and Josh Allen thrives against that. And you saw it several times where the Dolphins sent like 7 guys, and they left man coverage back there to try and guard Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, all those guys. And Josh Allen, he burned them over the top. And that's exactly what happened.
But it's not the defense that lost them the game. It was the offense.
It isn't.
It was all decisions by McDaniel. McDaniel several times went for it when he shouldn't have went for it. And you look at, what was it, 3 times that they set the Bills up the Dolphins set Miami's offense up on the Bills side of the 50.
Mm-hmm.
You got to turn those into points.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm just saying that they don't have the most talented squad. The guy's got to get creative. And I thought he did a pretty good job. He kept Skylar Thompson within punching distance of Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bills defense has not been, locked down like everyone expected them to be this year.
Well, I think without the pressure that they generated with Von Miller, that's taken a big hit on the defense.
I get that, but that's one player. And
if
you build your defense, if you build anything in football around one player other than the quarterback, it's a really weak design.
Absolutely.
Because injuries are going to happen in the National Football League. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little surprised, but I always feel like that they have to blame somebody. I was not surprised that the Vikings sent their defensive coordinator packing, because that defense was a sieve. But I felt like the Dolphins actually had a decent. Of course, you always wonder about this stuff. Is there infighting? Is there a power struggle?
Mm-hmm.
All in all, I think the Dolphins did incredible considering the fact they didn't have a consistent quarterback play the entire season.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah.
And I guarantee you he is not going to be unemployed long.
There's a lot of teams with coordinator spots open right now. So
he might end up in Minnesota. I mean,
maybe.
All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hit the NFC playoffs. NFC spreads will be back in a flash here on The Key and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. Keep it locked in here on 99.1 FM.
Well, don't mind me. I'm just here to install this smoke detector.
Smoke detector? Does that detect any kind of smoke?
Long live the king.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
ACC football covered like no other here on the Armchair Quarterback.
Against the blitz. Touchdown, Florida State. Rock Preston scores the touchdown. And now it's Bowden's decision. And he sends Mowry onto the field right away. Danny Cannell is the holder. Mowry ties it. This game is over. A 31-31 tie. A 31-31 tie.
A deep throw by Lawrence. A lot of contact. Justin Ross broke free from it. He's down in the end zone. Touchdown, Clemson. Justin Ross, a freshman wide receiver, big, rangy, and Trevor Lawrence knows, throw it up against that single coverage, give him a chance to make a play on a 50-50 ball.
If you're a fan of the ACC, pull up an armchair. You're home.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Welcome back to Braves Country. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Drive time on WQEE.
No matter what technical data they've obtained, this station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. It is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Welcome back. TGI Friday here on Braves Country. You got big plans on the Friday night tilt there in the borough? Young Squire?
Not too much going on tonight. No, not a whole lot.
You're not taking advantage of illegal identification cards?
I'm not saying that on air, man. That's.
Have you made your way down to Dirty Jim's before?
Dirty Jim's, no.
So you have not really lived in the borough. Okay, fair enough. I wouldn't suggest you go with the sun being down. I'll just put it that way. Kind of a sketchy place, but it's a birthright if you live in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I can tell you that. That or the pub, which is right next door. I can tell you some wild stories there back in the day. But I digress. We get back into the NFL football. So I was planning on doing AFC, NFC, but instead we kind of cleared out Saturday's games. So let's jump to Sunday's games. And Sunday's games get you going with 3 p.m. I love the fact that we don't have an early game on Sunday. I love the fact that we do not have an early game on Sunday, and you can sleep in a little bit. You can get some stuff done around the house. And I've already got a honey-do list that I've got to help take care of. And the plan is by 3 p.m., get me some nachos or some wings or something and be in front of the TV to watch Buffalo versus Burrow.
No love for the rest of the Bengals team? Bills versus Burrow?
It's Bills versus Burrow. It's the city of Buffalo versus Joe Burrow. No. What? Well, I mean, maybe some Jamar Chase, but that all comes down to Joe Burrow. I'm not going to praise the offensive line. It's a mash unit, right?
And it's going to be even worse. They're 2 starters tomorrow or on Sunday.
Exactly. Hit that up at the top of the show. They're going to be missing their right guard and their left tackle. But you know what? Burrow finds a way to win even without having an offensive line. I don't know how he does it.
Mm-hmm.
If they ever get that man an offensive line, it is going to be absolutely insane.
That team will be tough to stop.
Interesting note on that matchup that Jamar Chase has had 7 receptions or more in 9 straight games. That is the 5th longest since the Super Bowl era. That's a little hard to believe, especially considering the fact that they've had such the woes on the offensive line. I mean, I didn't even realize that he had 7 catches last week. I felt like every time Joe Burrow dropped back to pass, he was setting up for trying to get in good punting position.
Mm-hmm.
So because they don't have Morris, I'm drawing a blank.
Are you thinking of the Bengals tackle?
No. I'll think of his name in a second. The defensive lineman that went from Denver to the Rams to the Bills. It's out.
Von Miller.
I don't know what Morris. I don't know. I had a flash about the basketball game I was watching last night. I couldn't believe that Maurice Morris has been in the league so long that he's now got senior on his back because he's grandpa. I saw him flash by and I was like, "Is that more?" Oh no! I'm sorry, he's playing with the Nets. And I was like, "Is that Morris? Is he still in the league?" And sure enough, it was him. I was like, "My word, that dude!" And I remember now that he changed his name to Senior because he had a kid that was old enough to be able to see what was going on screen and decided to go with Senior as opposed to because they named obviously his son Junior. Cincinnati's getting 5.5, and I think that number's too high. I'm not saying the Bills won't win the game, but this game feels like to me could be the best game of the weekend, and this game feels like to me comes down to a field goal no matter how you look at it.
I have the same thing here written down. I think it's going to come down to a field goal, and I think this is my most confident. I won't say it's my lock of the week. I don't want to spoil that, but it's my most confident bet of the week. I really think Bengals are going to cover this one, 5.5, and 2 teams that are very evenly matched. I know the Bengals are struggling on the offensive line right now, but overall, these 2 teams are arguably the 2 best in the AFC, even with the Chiefs. You can make a case for that. I think this game will be a lot closer than 5.5.
I also think that if you want this number, you better grab it now because I don't think it's staying there. I think especially it happens every time. More people are going to focus on tomorrow's games. And then depending on how they do, they're either going to take some money and roll it over or they're going to chase their losses.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas knows they don't really care because the next good day is coming, right? And you go out there and chase your losses. Bengals plus 5.5 is going to be really, really tempting.
Yeah.
Right now, Dallas is sitting at plus 4. And I mean, to me, an easy teaser. Now, I guess it really comes down to what your thoughts are on the Dallas game. But I do believe San Francisco is going to find a way to win that game. And I don't know if 4 points is enough. To me, an easy teaser would be take Cincinnati up to 11.5 and take San Francisco with plus 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the 49ers will win this one. I think it's another close game. I know the 49ers defense is pretty daunting, but I think the Cowboys offense is strong enough. You saw it last week against the Bucs. I think they can keep up. I don't think it'll be enough. I think the 49ers win, but I like that teaser. I think that's a good call.
San Francisco, Dallas, 46.5 is the over. It is the lowest over-under of the entire weekend, right?
Mhm.
And for good reason, because of the defenses. If these two defenses play well, that over is a little high.
Yeah. Yeah, and Parsons, he said there wasn't a team he'd rather play than the 49ers in this round, so I could, bite him later on, but he's ready to play. I think the Cowboys defense could come out and put on a good show. I think the 49ers defense will hands down be the driving force for the 49ers winning. They're the best defense in the league in my mind, without a doubt. And I think I think that's how it'll play out.
Yeah, I don't see any other way for it to play out other than I don't think I would feel bad about teasing it down, getting the line down to 40.5, but I really think the safer play would be to tease that up. Because unless you see an offensive explosion by San Francisco in the second half, like they had versus Seattle, the 46.5 to me, I mean, take a look at the prop bets in the NFL on these, and when you take a look at this on the Cowboys Niners in that game, see if they have it set yet. Some of them wait. So Dak Prescott's over under touchdown passes 1.5. That seems like easy money, because I don't think they're going to get the ball going on the ground. So I think Dallas probably scores 2 touchdowns, probably 3, maybe. They're both probably through the air.
I could see them getting down in the red zone and punching it in with either Zeke or Pollard. But I think 1.5, it being that low, is also kind of telling of how they gauge this game could go. The 49ers could, hold the Cowboys for most of the game and not let them score much at all. So I think that could go over. I think 3 touchdowns is reasonable as a total for the Cowboys. It just depends on who they punch it in with.
So if I were to tell you that I've tracked Ezekiel Elliott's last 40 carries, what number would you guess total yards he has?
Total yards in 40 carries.
One of the highest paid running backs in the National Football League.
I'm going to guess a not impressive 130.
70.
Wow.
70.
Wow. 70 on 40 carries?
70 yards.
That's not even 2 yards a carry. That's ridiculous.
No.
That's bad.
I mean, yeah.
I was expecting a low number. I was expecting, somewhere in the 3 yards a carry region. I would never have guessed less than 2 yards a carry. That's unbelievable.
70. So I'm just saying, if you're going to beat the 49ers, it's probably not going to be on the ground.
Yeah, especially not against that front seven.
I think they're much better off putting Pollard in there and trying to get him out in space.
Oh, I agree. And I think Pollard should be the lead back without question. He's the better running back of the two.
Well, they currently do not have the lines for the halftime, but you can pretty much go ahead. Oh, never mind. Here it is. This site is set up a little different. What I was going to get at was that the over under for Dallas San Francisco is 23 for the half. That's the one that I really like, because I think that if there is an offensive explosion, it's late. I think it's more likely that this is going to be an old-fashioned boxing match where they're going to be throwing jabs in the first and second round and barely laying anything, just trying to feel each other out. The Jags Kansas City game, their over-under at the halftime is 26.5. That is a high number. You got to come out and hit the ground running. You're going to have to get 4 touchdowns in the first 2 quarters to hit that number, right? There can't be some turnover deep into someone's territory. It's going to throw everything off. There can't be a muddled, you go for it on 4th and 2 on the Jacksonville 32 and the Chiefs don't get it. That's going to throw everything off. You can't have we're going to get, it's going to be a field goal fest. We're going to kick field goals back and forth. You have to hit the ground running. I really like that 26.5 in the first half.
Yeah, I'm with you. The only way that happens is if the Chiefs get out to an explosive start, which is possible. I mean, that's an offense that's capable of that, but I don't see the Jaguars scoring enough to get the over.
And this number here that I'm highlighting, Philly and New York, 23.5. So they need 3 touchdowns and a field goal in the first half combined. You know the Giants are not going to come out winging it. They're going to come out there to try to control the clock, keep the ball away from Jalen Hurts and company.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the overall overhitting.
Mm-hmm.
That first half under to me is very appealing.
I'm with you on that. I like the under.
And I would never touch the under on the Cincinnati Buffalo game.
Yeah.
It's 24. I would never touch that in the first half because if those two come out slinging, then that number could be gone by the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a playoff game, and you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to watch and go right out the gate. I need touchdowns. I need them now. I need let's go. So I'm steering clear of that. If I was going to go anything on an over on the Cincinnati game in the first half, it would be Cincinnati getting more than 10 points in the first half.
So I imagine that means a 4-point, or Bills are the 4-point first half favorites.
Bills are 3.5. Yeah.
3.5. I'd take the Bengals to cover the first half spread in that one. I don't know. And yeah, given that it's 10 points, I'd probably go over too.
I don't know. I feel like that when you look at these two teams and you look at, first of all, they just played each other recently and kind of got each other's best shots. And of course, then the game got stopped, but they saw how each one of them wanted to start the game.
Mm-hmm.
So they just saw that a few weeks ago. That's going to be fresh in their mind. And obviously there's going to be counterpunching and whatnot, but I kind of feel like Cincinnati has a very good opportunity to go into the half with the lead, and we're talking 13, 14 points scored in the first half. That 10 is very, if I could get it down to 9.5, I'd be all over it. The 10, you could lose the juice. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, Tones is going to join us. We're going to be talking the cool games of the week or not. And I'm throwing a hair into that one because they like to pick every game. And we're also going to get our locks. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country. Keep it locked in here on 99.1 FM, The Key, WQEE.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Minnesota Vikings fired defensive coordinator Ed Donatel, an unsurprising decision after winning 13 games under first-year coach Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell, in a statement, quote, "We will immediately begin our search to fill this critical role as we continue to build a championship standard for the Minnesota Vikings." Miami Dolphins fired defensive coordinator Josh Boyer after 4 seasons with the franchise, the last 3 as defensive coordinator. In addition to Boyer, the Dolphins also fired safeties coach Steve Gregory, outside linebackers coach Ty McKenzie, and assistant linebackers coach Steve Ferentz. Here are your lines for the NFL playoff weekend. 4:30 Saturday, Jacksonville at Kansas City. Chiefs are giving up 9, over under 52.5. Jaguars plus 390 on the money line. Chiefs minus 550. Saturday night in Philadelphia. Giants plus 7.5, over under 48. G-Men plus 275 on the money line. Fly Eagles fly minus 350. 3 o'clock Sunday. Bengals at Bills. Houday is getting plus 5.5. Over under 149. Cincy plus 205 on the money line. Bills Mafia minus 245. At 6:30 Sunday evening, the Dallas Cowboys at San Francisco 49ers. Dallas getting 4 over under 46.5. Plus 170 on the money line is how about them Cowboys? The San Francisco Gold Rush minus 200. Games of interest in the NBA tonight. Warriors at the Cavs. Golden State is getting 8 over under 224. Mavericks host the Heat. They're 1.5 point dog. Numbers 218.5. The New York Knicks are at your Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta minus 3 over under 228. Memphis is at the Lakers. Grizzlies minus 7 over under 243. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country. Recently on Braves Country, we had Eddie, the jockey, making his college basketball predictions. Come to our attention that Eddie needs financial help. The Boomer and Geo Show has helped Eddie set up a GoFundMe page. Donate whatever you can. Every little bit helps at gofund.me/535-320-CA. That's gofund.me/535-320-CA. Please help out Eddie, an honorary armchair quarterback here on Braves Country HD.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive Time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League. And the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM. And simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country.
I mean, what now between me and you?
Oh, that what now? I tell you what now between me and you. There is no me and you. Not no more.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The All-American.
Welcome back. Hour number 2. Braves Country here on 99.1 FM. And, of course, we are simulcasting wherever you stream on Braves Country HD. Joining Bobby and I here on this football Friday, this TGI Football Friday, is Mr. Tones Areola. Tones, how the hell are you, sir?
Good, gentlemen. Football Friday, always a pleasure, and good football slate this weekend. 4 good ones, so ready to talk about them.
And if you want to sign up, the sign-up bonus is right there in the chat. Just copy and paste the HTTPS and follow that, and you'll get a sign-up bonus for to sign up and play on this weekend's games. And looking forward to another big weekend, and we're going to do cool games, but there's going to be a caveat because y'all are a little promiscuous with your cool game giveaways. You want to make every game a cool game. You're going to try and tell me that, you know, if I let you, you'd tell me that the Grizzly and Lakers tonight is a cool game. So you can only pick 2 of the 4 games that we're going to talk about.
Gee.
Only 2 of them can be cool. 2 of them, you might watch them, but it's not the end of the world if you don't see them.
You're tying my hands.
I have to. Because if not, somehow you would have 7 cool games, even though there's only 4.
You can't break it into halves? Cool halves?
No.
Cool first
No.
half?
No. Oh, my word.
Hey, nothing was cool about Monday night, so that wasn't a cool game.
It probably didn't take nothing for the ladies to get you into bed, did it?
Oh man, that was a rough night. But we're here.
I'd have to I could see you out working your magic on the single scene, and I don't think it would work out well.
Yeah, let's put it that way, and let's leave it at that.
Rubbed your arm to get a free beer, you'd just be handing her wallet, your keys, everything. I will marry you now. Yes, let's go.
Here you are.
All right. Cool game number 1. We'll go in order. Jacksonville, Kansas City. 4:30 kickoff tomorrow. Is that a cool game? Remember, you only get 2, so choose wisely. Bobby, I'll start with you.
Unfortunately, since we have a quota here, it's not a cool game to me. This was one. If I had the choice, I'd have 3 cool games, but I'm limited to 2, as you said.
Of course you would.
Of course, yes.
5. Let's be honest.
This one's the odd one out, though. Unfortunately, I could see the Chiefs easily running away with this one. I also could see it being competitive, but with the Chiefs having a week of rest and some motivation with T-Law's comments, I think the Chiefs win this one pretty handily.
All right, Tones, what say you?
Oh boy, this is where it gets tough. I'm actually going to throw this one in the category of a cool game, and it's a rare answer. Yep, I'm looking.
One left in the chamber.
I'm looking forward to this one. I think Jacksonville's been a fun team to watch, particularly of late. Trevor Lawrence is undefeated on Saturdays throughout his college and high school and NFL career now, so that's something cool to watch. Doug Peterson is from Andy Reid's coaching tree, so I think if any coach could perhaps buckle down Andy Reid, it might be the type of a Doug Peterson. I think this game's closer than a lot of people think. That week off sometimes doesn't help teams. It hurts them, and I think that's the case here. Not saying Jacksonville wins, but I think it's a close one.
Okay, it's absolutely not a cool game. If you live in Jacksonville, of course, we're into it. But the average Joe is not going to be into this because there's too big of. If you tell me I can only watch 2 games, there's too big of a risk that this game turns into an absolute slaughter. Especially when we saw what the first half of the Jacksonville Jaguars did against the Chargers. And if you get down 27-0 to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you're not coming back. You're not coming back. It's not even going to. They have to get out to a good start, and they have to get out to a great start. They cannot fumble and mumble their way around and look around and all shucks. Well, that's we'll get them next time. No. Because you start the game off with a 3-and-out or an INT like they did, and by the time you get the ball back, somehow it's 21-0. Like that's the way it is in Arrowhead. So I have to kick this one in the trash. All right. Second one. Giants and Eagles. 8 o'clock, 8:15 on Saturday night. What say you, Tones?
This one is not a cool game for me. I think that the Eagles are the superior team in this one. The Giants had a great week 1 game and a great week 1 postseason matchup, but Minnesota's defense is very, very underperforming. You've seen them let go of their defensive coordinator, and Kirk Cousins was making, Kirk Cousins type plays out there. So I think as good as the Giants played, don't give them too much credit just yet. The Eagles defense got a little healthier. They were able to rest up a little bit. Jalen Hurts, a little rest never hurts for him. I think their offense is going to be too much for the Giants to handle, and I could see this one being a double-digit game, and for that reason, I don't think it's a cool game. I think the Giants' Cinderella story ends here.
Bobby.
Yeah, as much as I'd like to say the Giants are advancing, this isn't a cool game. I think the Eagles run away with this one. Like Tone said, I'm projecting a double-digit win for the Eagles. I think all they got to do really in my mind is just stop Saquon. If they can slow down the run game, which has been a problem for them, but if they can slow down the run game, I think they win this game pretty handily, and I think they'll do just that.
So if you're asking me which games that I'm most interested in as a fan, they're both of them on Saturday. It's the Jaguars game, and I've been a Giants quasi fan my whole life. It's a long story. I've got family in New York. But it's not a cool game if you're sitting out in, we'll say, if you're from the Atlanta area, if you're from Nashville, if you're from Los Angeles, you don't really care about this game because first of all, it's too centralized, right? It's like both teams live right up the road from each other. So that's a problem. And then the other thing is what you kind of got to is I don't think it's got the capability of turning into a full on blowout, but I could see them pulling away comfortably. So it's not a cool game but they are the two games that I am most looking forward to, just me personally. And that's how you define them. It's not whether or not you want to watch them. It's what does everybody want to watch? Can you walk into a sports bar and say, I'm turning off Bengals Bills. I'm going to put on the Giants and Eagles, right? If they were all playing at once. No, what are you doing? So obviously that means the two Sunday games are the cool games, right? That kind of goes without saying.
Yeah.
Flip the script on that. Rank them. What's the best game? What's the game you're looking forward to the most on Sunday night, which would be this weekend? Bobby, what say you?
At number one, and it's a pretty clear favorite for me amongst all the four games, I think Bengals-Bills is going to be the best one. I mentioned it earlier. I think there's a case that these two are the best teams in the AFC. It should be a close game. It was fortunate that this one turned into a blowout, but I think this will be a close game, a back-and-forth one. I do have the Bills winning. This is, without a doubt, my number one game.
Tones, what say you?
Well, I don't even have Niners-Cowboys as a cool game, so I'm obviously going to put Bengals and Bills first. I think that game, for more reasons than the Monday night tragedy, is very intriguing to watch. We've seen this matchup before, and it's been great. Two of the greater young quarterbacks in the game, two interesting head coaches that a lot of people respect. Everybody loves the story and compassion of the Hamlin thing and whatnot. So all the storylines, all the good feelings, the good offenses, Stephon Diggs, Chase, everything into this game is very exciting. And the balance that hangs at stake for the Bills too, right? I think that's intriguing a little bit because if they win, then you get the home or the no home field advantage. So much going around this game. It's definitely number one for me.
Okay. I'm going to let y'all know why you're both wrong. But it's not your fault. You didn't know. Because you were not. Oh, look at that. I ended up getting the wrong. All right. Let me see if I can actually get the clip that I'm looking for and see if we can get here we go. All right. So we're going to get this set up, and I'm going to show you why this is the cool game of the weekend, but you've had to have lived it. Here we go. Y'all ready? Drum roll. That's the reason why it's the cool game of the weekend. So if you're old enough to remember, this is one of the greatest plays in the history, one of the greatest games in the history of the National Football League. The Dwight Clark catch in the back of the end zone. It was one of my first memories. I'm lucky enough to just be old enough to have watched this game. I didn't know what I was talking about. I was a little kid, and I was telling my grandfather I thought San Francisco was going to win the Super Bowl. This is like midway through the season. This is like an improbable thing that the Niners did. The Niners were perennial losers going into this game, essentially, but they had a pretty good rivalry with the Cowboys already. In fact, there's a really good documentary on Cowboys versus Niners. I want to say ESPN made it, but I don't remember. But if you get a chance to ever watch it, I can't do it justice. It is a phenomenal game. But it's a phenomenal rivalry, stuff that I didn't know about even when I was watching this, things that happened in the 60s and 70s between these two franchises. These two franchises go way back, and this game looked like it was darn near over, and the Cowboys famously had a fumble that led to Joe Montana hitting Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone. This game was so long ago, the field reporter for a brand new cable station called ESPN was Chris Berman himself.
Wow.
So he was on the field. I wish I could remember word for word what he said. I couldn't get a clear audio of it, or I would have played it today. Everyone that I found crackled and whatnot. But basically, he's trying to report back to this new station, trying to give a report back to what was known, just become known as Sports Center. And there were fans jumping all over Berman and everything, and he's trying to keep it together. I realized something too of this whole story. Chris Berman grew up a 49ers fan.
Right.
So he's about to go wild, but he's got to stay focused because he's doing his job, and let's go. And the place is just pandemonium.
I love Berman. That's a great story, and Berman in the middle of it makes it that much better.
So that's why this is my cool game, but I get that y'all weren't old enough to see it. And I know Bobby wasn't, but I don't think you're quite old enough to grasp that it was also a huge rivalry in the very early 90s. I think you just would have missed it. Like, I think you technically would have been alive, but I was alive when the Dolphins won the Super Bowl in 73, but just barely. I don't remember it. Right.
Right. Correct. You're right.
I don't remember the steel curtain of the 70s. I was around. I was walking around. I was doing about what my puppy does now, right? I was doing that kind of stuff on the carpet. But but as far as my memory of sports, of NFL, began about this time. That was the first Super Bowl that I watched that I could comprehend what was going on, right? This is for the championship. I'd watched the year before Super Bowl 15, but I didn't, who knows how much of that game I even watched. I remember being on TV, and that's about it. But this was the beginning of it. And then it was also the real beginning of ESPN Sports Center and this kind of stuff being plastered all over. And now they do it. I think they still do it, but now they do it all the time. But back then they had just started also doing the Super Bowl marathons, right? Where they re-showed the 30-minute capsules. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know those.
Well, back then they were pretty easy to keep up with. There's only like 15 of them. Back then I had all the scores memorized. My grandfather thought this was great. I was like, well, just, hold on. There's about to be about 40 more, and I'm not going to remember all those scores. But yeah. That to me is the game of the weekend because of if I'm going to rank it, honestly, it's got to be Cowboys Niners 1. It's the reason why it's the Sunday night window. They know it's going to get a huge audience with those two. Bills and Bengals might have the two best quarterbacks in it, but the two fan bases don't, there's not that rivalry there.
Yeah.
If you're going to rank it last, honest engine, it's the worst game as far as interest is going to be the Jaguars Chiefs game. But if you start the NFL playoff weekend with the Jaguars upset, look out. Then all of a sudden it all gets interesting, right? Because then all of a sudden you've got a Jacksonville Jaguar fan base who's going to be locked into Bills versus Bengals. And then Bills and Bengals fans are going to be like, dude, if we win, we're at home. We don't, we get to host it. So that first game, though, it's not that interesting for a lot of people. You might want to at least check the score around the third quarter to see if it's interesting.
Well, if you check their score in the third quarter last week, it didn't look that great. So maybe the fourth quarter.
Let's go ahead and hit our locks because I know Bobby's got to jam out of here. Bobby, what is your lock of the day?
I'm saving the NFL games for this weekend, the next show tomorrow. Tonight, I'm going to go with Grizzlies -6.5. The Lakers are still down AD. They're missing some role players as well. And the Grizzlies have been great as of recent. I think they win pretty comfortably. So I think 6.5 is a good spread there.
And Tones, what do you got?
I'm going with the NBA players special here. I like Wendell Carter combined points, rebounds, and assists over 27.5. The Orlando Magic are at home tonight taking on the Pelicans. Valanciunas defensively hasn't been in the top half of the league in anything this year. Wendell Carter has amassed that total number in 4 of his last 5 games, only missing last game. I think he gets back on track this game. 27.5 over points, rebounds, and assists combined.
All right, well, I put points and rebounds. I didn't hear the assists, so we'll duly noted, but you'll see the error on the screen. But anyways, and then, of course, my lock was the teaser that we gave out earlier. We got the it is a 3-team teaser in the NBA. Dallas getting 9.5, Jazz getting plus 0.5, so basically Jazz to win, and the Knicks getting 11. And I like a lot of those matches, won't bore you with the details, but basically there's a back-to-back in there. There's an injury concern, and I think with Ricky Rubio not playing, that actually improves the Jazz's chance because they're going to have to play the starters a little more tonight. So
correct.
There you go. Bobby, what is your walk-off for the day?
My walk-off, I know we have a great weekend of football ahead of us, but on Saturday night, along with the football, we have a double title fight header in the UFC. You see it, Tones. You got Glover Teixeira and Jamal Hill for the light heavyweight title, and you got Figueiredo and Moreno for the flyweight title. 2 solid matchups, not the most exciting divisions right now, but two title fights regardless. So it'll be a big weekend for sports.
Here he goes again.
I got Tones with me though.
I know the 2 of y'all, man. I'm surprised y'all didn't say, "Oh, that's the only cool game."
I should have picked that as a cool game.
Jeez Louise. All right, Bobby, we'll see you tomorrow, and we will be back in a flash here on Braves Country, taking you to the top of the hour. We still got a lot to get into in the betting world, the sports betting world, the National Football League, looking at some of the different options, over, unders, props, all that kind of stuff. We'll be back in a flash.
Now, I'm not saying I've never driven drunk, because I've drank so much in my life. Now on the back of my driver's license, there's a list of organs I need.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
How to improve your dining room by the Home Depot. New wood floors, new paint on the walls. Sure, you know us for that. But how about a new dining room table, matching chairs, bar stools? How about free and flexible delivery with easy online returns? Now you can explore decor in a whole new way. Save now on furniture. Everything for your home. Everything from HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines 2 of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Whatever We Have in Stock Are Us, your one-stop place to shop for whatever we happen to have lying around at the time.
You're listening to WQEE, home of Braves Country. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Larry Bird's not walking through that door, fans. Kevin McHale's not walking through that door, and Robert Parrish is not walking through that door. And if you expect them to walk through the door, they're going to be gray and old. What we are is young, exciting, hardworking, and going to improve. And as soon as they realize that those 3 guys are not coming through that door, the better this town will be for all of us. I wish we had $90 million under the salary cap. Wish we could buy the world. We can't.
Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Drive time on WQEE. Welcome back. I think if Alex Anthopoulos, the Braves general manager, could tell the Braves fan base one thing, it would be Freddie Freeman ain't walking through that door, folks. Dansby Swanson ain't walking through that door, folks. Get on board with what we've got. Because I believe that they are pretty much done. I'm still holding out hope that there's still a minor move made, but I don't think that there's going to be not during this off season, but he's always wheeling and dealing. So I never say never and say it's a dead deal, but I've seen a lot of comments scrolling through all the different social medias, and some of them are just downright balloon animal nuts. I mean, you're like, what in the world are they talking about? There are people who are talking about ways for them to make trades to bring in huge salaries. And I'm not even going to get into the weeds with it, what they're suggesting. But Tones, essentially what they're suggesting is just, it's never going to happen.
And these are those type of fans that just think once you win one championship, some fans get such a big head, you think you could acquire anybody and everybody. And that's just not how it works. Honestly, kudos to the Braves for keeping as many big names as around as they've been able to while adding on pieces here and there in the process.
Yeah, I agree. The Braves, to me, the most logical thing you could do from a business standpoint would be to sign Trevor Bauer. But there's a part of me that just thinks that I don't think that's Anthopoulos' style.
The Cubs have already backed out.
What's that?
The Cubs have already said we're not going to sign him.
And you wonder, it almost feels like it's a blackball situation.
Mm-hmm.
Where everyone's just going to blackball him, and it's a gentleman's agreement not to sign him. And I don't even know if it's right. Like, you know, if you read all the details of what happened, man, there's a bunch of gaps in the stories that are being told.
To me, there's been a lot worse in baseball that players have come back from as well.
It's been a heck of a lot worse in football. I know that much.
Yeah. I mean, you can name a couple off the top of your head. Greg Hardy, Kareem Hunt. You can name more as well.
And not to mention the fact the punishment alone has been severe.
Mm-hmm. A lot of money and a lot of baseball out of his window, and those are prime years you don't get back.
He signed a 3-year deal for, I want to say it was around $40 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he essentially lost 2 of the years.
And he was pitching really, really good before this went down as well.
Oh, he just won the Cy Young.
Mm-hmm. Top pitcher in the league. And that's the thing. You can't, if you're a pitcher too, and you've been off this long now at this point, he hasn't pitched since 2021. It's going to be hard for him to regroup to begin with. So if you're a team, you almost want to sign him now, but at the same time, as you alluded to, it feels like a Ray Rice situation. Although what Ray Rice did was a lot worse as it was on camera. So
yes,
it makes no sense to
what
me.
Kareem Hunt did was a lot worse, and Kareem Hunt's played several years afterwards.
Greg Hardy got a chance in the UFC as well, on top of another NFL chance. He got multi-sport opportunities.
There's a litany of NFL. I mean, we could talk ourselves dry talking about the NFL situations that happen on a regular basis. So many of them don't even get publicized because there's too many to keep up with in the off season.
I think
they feel like, well, if you don't know who they are, we're not going to just press it. Same thing with the NBA. There's been a lot of NBA problems. There's been problems with guys in the NHL.
Mm-hmm. I remember Evander Kane had a whole ordeal, and he got signed like there was no worry in the world.
Well, let's move on. Let's go ahead and hit the games of the weekend, and I guess go ahead and start off with I guess we'll just go in order of the games that are heading our way. Jacksonville, Kansas City. Bobby and I talked about this earlier, and I'm really sketchy to take that game either way on the point spread, but I would probably tease it and then tease the over. So I would probably either take Kansas City, tease it to a field goal or less, depending on the line you get. and then give me the over, because I do think Trevor Lawrence is going to put up 20 points. I don't think he's just going to absolutely get demolished. But if they score 20, there's a good chance that Mahomes and company get 30. And if you tease the line under, I'll pull the numbers up here in a second on the screen. You're basically just trying to crack over 50 points.
Yeah, I do like the Jaguars covering as well. I think that's a lot of points. I know the Chiefs' offense is electric. They could put up points in a hurry, but 8.5, 9 points hovering in that territory, that's just too much for a Jaguars defense that, they've played pretty good ball all year. And then I think the over hits as well, personally. I think that with Mahomes and that offense and the way that Trevor Lawrence and the Jags put up points at the end of the season specifically, and how little he turned, well, minus last week, he looked like Jameis Winston. But besides last week, how little he's turned the ball over, I think it bodes well for the over in this one as well.
And then you go to Giants and Eagles, and that's still sitting at 7.5, and the over-under is now 48. That over-under is creeping higher and higher. This is the one game that I like for the under more than any of the others. I feel like that 48 is a really high number, because if the Giants are going to win, it's going to be a slobber knocker I'm not expecting low scoring, but 23-20, 24-21, that type of a ball game. And if Philadelphia wins, there's a good chance they win comfortably, and it's because the Giants offense can never get going.
And I agree with that. That's why one prop bet I like on top of the Eagles and the under. I think the under is a great play. You alluded to that. I like the under in Daniel Jones passing yards as well. It's at 260.5 right now. I see it hard for him to get to that number unless it's a lot of garbage time stats.
250? Is that what you said?
260.5 is his over under passing yard.
Do you have his rushing in front of you updated?
His rushing is, let's see here, 43.5.
I like the rushing.
I like the rushing a lot as well, more than the passing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the they don't want Daniel Jones. Look, Daniel Jones does not have to go out and do what he did against the Vikings to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to move the ball. He's got to keep the ball away from Philadelphia. And between Barkley and Jones's running ability, not to mention, there's going to be, Dayball's going to get really creative with, the jet sweep types of plays and the very, very short passing yards to just grind it out. This is an NFC battle, and I feel like it's going to feel like one. It's going to be, I think at least one of these teams has like a 7-8 minute drive.
Yeah, Barkley's rush yard total is sitting at 65 over under.
If you get 2 7-8 minute drives, you've just sucked an entire quarter out of the game. That's why I really like the under in this game.
I agree with you, and I think you're absolutely 110% right. The Giants are going to look to milk that clock, time consume. That's why I like both Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley over in rushing yards. That is Saquon at 65, Daniel Jones at 43.5. I think in one half, not saying they'll get the over, but they could each come close to that if they play a good first half of football.
So here's a funny story. Since our friend came on to the show, and our college basketball guru came on to the show, well, it's even got my wife's attention. So she has actually opened up a betting book with Bovada. And if you want the sign up bonus, just go to our comments. It's placed on the screen. I can put it back up there. But anyways, now I'm in charge of letting her know what he's betting.
The middleman.
Yeah. And so It'll be a fun ride now. He took it on the chin. Well, we all took it on the chin last night. He went 0 for 2, and that's not what you want. I almost only did the one, and then I was like, well, he picked 2. He went 3 or 4 that one day, so I'm going to do it. So that's kind of what's going. So I said to her last night, I said, did you ever think there would be a time that you would be watching and interested in college basketball? The game last night was Houston Christian. Tones, I'm telling you, they were broadcasting this from a shaky iPhone. At halftime, it did not go to halftime break. It did not go to the studio. It was on ESPN Plus, but it didn't go to the studio. It just sat in the middle of the gym, and all you could see is from the top of the key of both sides, and they were doing some kind of, keep the kids entertained at the half type thing. There was maybe 150 people at this game. It wasn't a high school gym. It was like a junior high gym.
And it's, dead silent in there on commercial breaks and everything. It just gives you one of those airy, creepy feelings. Sadly, I'm a little too accustomed to watching those type of games, but man, it's something special if you haven't witnessed it yet. I recommend you check it out.
It was the first time I'd seen it in college basketball, because normally I don't get invested in a college basketball game like that. What I do is I just move on, and I look for the ranked teams, the Power 5 teams. But I have seen a lot of college baseball games like this. And I consume a lot of college baseball and college softball from the Plus. And you see this all the time. I mean, dude, I can't tell you how many games I've gotten a hold of with the baseball and softball games, where the one camera they have is sitting behind home plate, and you can barely see through the chain link fence. And this was what it reminded me of. And I said, so they were giving up 3, and they lost by at home. They're on their home court, which I looked at. I told my wife last night, I said, I can't even, when it comes to these small teams, you can't even factor in home court, because there's no home court advantage. They might as well just be meeting up at the YMCA. They were giving up 3, and they lost by double digits. I'm sitting there with my dog. My wife had already left the room. She was doing her own thing at that point. I was like, I cannot believe I've invested my entire Thursday night watching Rutgers get ram-handled by Michigan State. That was his other play. And then this game, just getting at, this team never had a fighting chance. Rutgers, at least at one point, was winning.
Maybe he accidentally submitted the wrong squad last night.
And yet, what did I do all day long? I kept checking to see if he had posted another pick.
Hey, I'm looking myself right now, so we'll see.
It is what it is, but the pick is up there. It's in the comments there. It's the A pick. The B pick was the teaser that I took. I would never put a teaser as a B pick. So
yeah,
just the A pick in the comments. That's the one.
Going after it right now.
Let's ride. Real quick on the. Let me scroll that down there because it's easier to see this way. Looking at the Bengals, Bills, 5.5's the spread. Are you leaning Bengals? Give me the points, or do you think the Bills can actually put that away?
Even though the Bengals offensive line is all dinged up and banged up, I'm leaning the Bengals with the points in this one. I think that the Bills are not playing their best of football. Bengals have a lot of motivation to get back to that Super Bowl. Not saying the Bengals win this game, but I think 5 points is a little too rich for 5.5 points, especially a little too rich for my blood in this one. I think this one's decided by a field goal one way or another.
I can't agree more. And I know if you at the end of the day, it's only a touchdown, right? But one of my favorite plays for the Sunday games, if we're just talking point spreads, would be give me the Bengals and the Niners and give me a 6-point teaser.
Correct. I like both of those completely.
Because then I'm getting 11.5 points with Joe Burrow, and I just need the Niners to win.
And the Bills, they looked terrible last week.
They did. I still think my heart of hearts is telling me that I'm a little concerned on how much focus they have with all the stuff that went on with Hamlin.
That's
And
true.
there's got to be a fatigue factor with that just mentally, right? There's got to be.
Brother in arms went down right there. You know, in the football season, that is your family right there. So they literally had a brother go through a scare.
Yeah.
That's draining.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think most of America is probably pulling for Buffalo to get to the Super Bowl, unless you're a Bengals fan this weekend or next weekend if you're a fan of whoever they play, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a fan of whoever's going to cover the spread. That's what I'm a fan of. And I get it that they're at home. If they were on the road, I would give them no shot of winning. No shot.
And I got we do a couple of these playoff pools where we all get random playoff teams. I actually have the Chiefs in both of them. So for money purposes, I got Chiefs and Jags in both of them. I'm hoping one of them could make moves. But as a fan, I'm hoping Buffalo at least beats Cincinnati this week. But I think Bengals cover with that being said. So I'm taking the Bengals spread.
But I will say this, I'm taking the points. I'm not hitting the money line because plus 200 is not big enough for me.
I'm taking the points and not looking back.
Giants plus 270, that's intriguing. Because if the Giants can keep it close, they can darn well win the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think Dallas's money line's high enough for me either. If I had to pick a money line,
if I'm taking the Cowboys, I got to get the points.
If I'm taking money line, I'm going Giants and then Jacksonville in that order, I think.
Absolutely. Let's take a really quick break. We'll be back in 90 seconds. When we come back, we'll finish up our picks and take you to the top of the hour to Sports Map Radio. You're listening to 99.1 FM, The Key, Braves Country HD, wherever you may stream. Wow.
Hey, this is not a test. This is rock and roll. Time to rock it from the Delta to the DMZ. Hey, is it a little too early for being that loud? Hey, too late. It's 0600. What's the O stand for? Oh, my God, it's early.
What did you do? Wasn't it obvious? I spiked him with muscle relax and plus my ADHD medication.
What? Check it out. A snow cone machine.
A snow cone machine?
You're saying it wrong. It's a snow cone machine.
Wendy's only makes one kind of breakfast, your new favorite one. How do we do it? With fresh cracked eggs, oven-baked bacon, and flaky croissants. You know, the things your old breakfast wasn't doing. So toss that old news and its soggy eggs somewhere useful. And get to Wendy's. A sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, bacon, egg, and Swiss croissant, and honey butter chicken biscuit. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Limited time only. Single item at regular price. Price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's.
The NFL playoffs are back, and that means the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show is back. Join Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks Wild Card Weekend and Divisional Round Weekend Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern to kick off at 4:30 Eastern. The Armchair Quarterbacks will be talking the spreads, prop bets, over-unders, stupid underdogs, and the locks. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show, streaming right here on Braves Country HD and our radio affiliates.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Welcome back. Tones of all the games this weekend. And I'm not saying who you think's got the best chance to win underdog, but what's the best spread you like if you say, hey, considering what I might get paid back to win outright money line, what's the one you like the most?
For money line outright the most, I'm going with the Giants. And I know I said earlier I think Philly would blow them out, but to me the most intriguing money line is the Giants because I think Jacksonville comes up just short, and I don't think Dallas wins, and then the other one's just not wild enough for me to consider.
I agree. I'll tell you what would make me think about it is so you get a Saturday night, Sunday afternoon parlay. Give me the Giants and the Bengals on the money line. Then if you get half of it right, you can go hedge it back and take the Bills -5.5.
That's not a bad idea at all.
Or you just take the Bills depending on where it's at. The Bills money line might drop down at that point. Right now, I hate taking money line at -240. That's just terrible.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Unless you want to parlay it.
What's the Jaguars money line at right now at this given second?
It's high. It's 385, but it's also you also have to look at what are the odds, right?
Right.
I mean, obviously the best payback is going to be the 385, but it's also most likely for you to just take your money and just, once you just take it and flush it down the toilet.
Yeah, I hear you. I'd stay away from that money line unless you already had the Chiefs in some sort of bet and you wanted to hedge. Then maybe I'd consider. But other than that,
chicken update. I've now talked to 5 different folks in the North Florida area that are supposed to be they're supposed to be in charge of taking care of wildlife, and everyone's passing the buck. You may not be aware of this story, Tones, but I've had some chicken issues here at the house past few days. One pretty good sized one flew into our yard on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one flew into our yard on Tuesday. Had to chase it out both times because I'm concerned about my puppy getting into it with it, right? And you don't know what they're carrying, right?
Right.
And now I noticed today that there's now roosters back there, along with all my next door neighbor swears that there's all kinds of stuff going on back there. Like, I don't know if we've got like a I mean, I don't know if it's a chicken fighting ring or what's going on back there, but tried to get the authorities involved. And one guy came out here to measure his fence. That's all he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him. I said, well, how do we get taken care of the fact that you just told me he doesn't have a permit? And he said, I kid you not, he looked me dead in the eye and said, well, I don't know for a fact that he's got the animals back there. As he's saying this, I said, are you hard of clucking? He goes, what? I said, can you not hear the cluck? I mean, literally, there's all these chickens in the background. And every once in a while, there's roosters going, like, what do you mean you don't know? You think that guy's playing a soundtrack back there?
He's got some sort of ring going on, and I'd be careful. There was a story out of India where a couple days ago, 2 men running a cockfight in ring got killed by roosters with knives. So be careful back there, McGee.
He got killed by a rooster with a knife.
Like they were doing the rooster.
Right now, that story might have been reported. That story's not accurate.
Where they hide the blade in the rooster claw or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like
trying to tell me that a rooster came up and jabbed someone with a knife.
I've heard it over here once before as well. It's because they try and illegally supply these roosters. They're called cockfights, so their rooster beats the other rooster. So they put like blades and knives on him. But I guess it got loose and killed 2 Indian men. Sadly, that's what the New York Post said.
This was in the country of India.
Yeah, the Yahoo reported it, and the New York
is. The birds escaped and they already had them strapped to them, and someone tried to corral them and they got jabbed.
Correct. And one of them was the owner.
That a rooster picked it up and intently went over and jabbed someone. I was like, I don't know about that, man. I feel like someone committed murder and is trying to point the finger at the chicken.
Unless it's a chicken.
Wasn't me, man. It was that crazy bird. Is that? I mean, see that lizard over there? He's got a weird look in his eye too. Keep an eye on him.
Oh man, that's too good. But ironically enough, I guess one of them was the owner. So yeah, try and cheat, and it's.
And once again, who knows if any of that's true? If they're just absolutely just pushing. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what happened. I came home and the rooster was standing over the body with a knife. I'm just telling you what I saw. Really. You didn't kill your neighbor, then go out and buy a rooster and try to blame it on you.
All I'm saying is be careful back
I'm
there,
just
brother.
saying Scotland Yard might want to get involved in this. That's all I'm saying. I'm just
Oh man, this story is wild. If anyone has time, look it up on the New York Post or Yahoo. This is really wild.
The over-unders for, first of all, any prop bets jump out at you yet? I usually have to wait till the day of the game because some of these prop bets just do not get shared. Any prop bets jumping out at you?
Yeah, usually I wait till day of game, but one I kind of liked, and I hit on a lot of touchdown scores last week. I hit on Marvin Jones scoring. I hit on a couple others as well. Won a game dang near, but in the Jacksonville game, when I look at it, I kind of like it doesn't pay a ton, but I do like Evan Ingram getting a touchdown at anytime touchdown score, and he's been really good for Jacksonville this year, and I just see him getting behind the weak Kansas City linebacker score into the end zone. It's been hovering between ×2 and 250. So if you think Evan Ingram is a candidate to score tomorrow, I heavily like that one.
Oh man, I just lost. Give me 1 second. Okay. Here is an interesting one to score the first touchdown. Now, the only problem is you have to win the coin toss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Travis Etienne plus 665.
Wow.
Zay Jones plus 1200. If you're thinking, okay, Kansas City, the worst one's Kelsey plus 400. That's terrible odds to come back on. The one that I do kind of like, because I believe McCall Hardman's out of this game too, right?
Correct.
How about Isaiah Pacheco at 700?
Mm-hmm. That's a very nice one to me.
And he's their goal line guy now.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes to dance into the end zone. First touchdown score. 1,600.
Woo. That's some hefty.
You know what happened? They'll get on the 1 yard line. They'll call a design run, and he'll flip it over to Kelsey.
Yeah, definitely.
Sky Moore will be sitting there all alone in the end zone. He'll just flip it over to him.
All by his lonesome.
Anytime I take those bets, I take a quarterback. I want a guy who I know is going to get greedy.
Correct. Absolutely. You want that. You need that in that sort of bet. You don't want a guy who's going to flick it 99% of the time.
Yeah, I'll take the risk for Aaron Rodgers to do it because he wants to get in the end zone and do the discount double check.
Yep. You know he wants to do that, or that other one he did against Tampa last year, whatever the heck that was.
Other ones, and now these are safer bets. Anytime score. ETN's minus 125, so I don't really like that one. McKinnon minus 125. I don't really like that one because you're not getting very good odds back. And they have to score a touchdown. One of the more intriguing ones, and this is anytime touchdowns. They don't have to be the first. This could be garbage time. This could be any time in the game. Plus 400, Jermichael Hasty. They love running little swing passes to him at the goal line.
I like that.
From the Kansas City side, a Rojo sighting on the board.
The good old days.
We went round and round about that. Was that last year or the year before? Rojo plus 350. There's no way I would take that's terrible odds.
Yeah, I don't get why
He may not even be on the field.
No, I don't think he should be that good of odds.
Go to that night game real quick. Well, actually, let's take it over to the highest scoring game of the weekend, and most likely Bengals Bills. Anytime touchdown. Oh, my word. They've even got players to score the last touchdown of the game. No. I'm not wanting that. I either want the first touchdown so I know I won or I lost, or anytime touchdown. All right. This is one of the ones that I do like because they love using him down at the goal line. He's getting a plus 330, Samaje Perine.
I like that one. I like that a lot. A little different bet I like in that game. Ed Oliver over half a sack plus 280.
I hit this last week. I think I'm going to do it again this week. Dawson Knox is getting plus 175 anytime touchdown. He scored the first touchdown of the game last week.
And he's played with a heavy heart this year after his brother passed away. So, he'd love to keep scoring to honor him as well.
He has now scored in 6 consecutive games.
He's a machine.
If you really want to roll the dice and you want to get him a first-time touchdown, plus 1,100.
And Allen's going to be looking for him if it's in the red zone.
Well, he has.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good first touchdown bet to take.
I don't know what year this is. Cole Beasley's plus 400 for anytime touchdown. I feel like he should be getting a lot bigger odds of that with Cole Beasley.
I feel like you should be getting at least 750.
At least.
If not 10.
He's got better odds to get in the end zone than Joe Burrow.
That doesn't make much sense to me.
Me neither. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
I'm looking forward to this statistic. I think it ends this weekend. I really do, and I mentioned it earlier in the show, but Trevor Lawrence, college, professional, high school, undefeated on Saturdays, and head coach Doug Peterson, former Super Bowl head coach, faces his old boss and Andy Reid. Look for Lawrence and Peterson to try and develop one of these unique game plans and keep it a ball game. I'm taking Jacksonville spread. I think Chiefs went outright, but keep your eyes locked in on that one. I think it's a lot closer than people think.
My walk-off is we will see you here tomorrow, the kickoff show, the playoff kickoff show, 3 to 4:30. And the whole I think just about the whole gang's going to be here. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We do a little – it's all spread related, but we have a lot of fun. So we'll see you then tomorrow. Catch us on Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. Keep it locked in for Sports Map Radio. First Name Sports is on the way.
Let's ride.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile.
The NFL playoffs are back. That means the Armchair Quarterbacks kickoff show is back. Join Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks Wild Card Weekend and Divisional Round Weekend Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern to kickoff at 4:30 Eastern. The Armchair Quarterbacks will be talking the spreads, prop bets, over-unders, stupid underdogs, and the locks. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show, streaming right here on Braves Country HD and our radio affiliates.
Ricky's gone.
What do you mean gone?
The NFL playoffs are back, and that means the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show is back. Join Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks Wild Card Weekend and Divisional Round Weekend Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern to kickoff at 4:30 Eastern. The Armchair Quarterbacks will be talking the spreads, prop bets, over-unders, stupid underdogs, and the locks. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show, streaming right here on Braves Country HD and our radio affiliates.